Hello Scrapper Names fans, I'm back with the fourth installment in my Arty Fun Friday series. This one finishes off, oh no, it starts February actually. So what I'm going to do here is try something a bit different for me and do some, I think you call them altered tags. So what I showed you there is my two Distress Oxides I have in the Broken China colour and, hang on, Worn Lipstick. And then my Delusions paint, I think it's called Funky Fuchsia, is that what I used? I can't remember now. And a blue colour. I think that was it. Can't remember exactly. Yeah, so what I've just done then is both of those tags, the white ones, were like a glossy kind of tag. So I've just used my ink dauber and just smooshed some of the Distress Oxide in that blue and the pink across both of those. And now I'm just adding some Delusions paint to both of these, I think. This brown and blue, already blue coloured one. So I just wanted to add some random sort of grungy kind of stripe type pattern to this tag. I had no real plans as to what I was going to embellish these with, so I just sort of started with my base layer of some paints and inks and things like that. Now, I think this one doesn't go quite according to the way I had planned it in the beginning in my head here, so I decided I was going to do some stripes. And then I think I kind of get, yeah, I sort of go, this just isn't working. The stripes were too thick, so I just painted it blue, in that blue sort of the Delusions paint. And this one goes a bit spotty with the purpley coloured paint. I add a few more bits to this one. Just felt that it needed some more. I was a little bit, I wasn't sure, was probably the best word, how these two tags would work out with the ink on it, the oxide ink on it, because they are glossy, but as you'll see in the end, it doesn't smear or anything like that. It sort of just soaks in, I guess, to the tag, so which is really good. Now I'm just going to use some texture paste to add a second layer to this tag, and also just to give it a different pattern and a bit of well, texture to it really. And as I said, I have no major plan as to how these tags are going to go. I knew that, as I said, I wanted some paint and some stuff as a base layers, and then I'll embellish over the top. So I think for some of this texture paste that I do on these ends up being a bit covered up, but I'm cool with that. As I said, no plan, just sort of going through and using it. I also wanted to use bits and pieces of my scrap stash, as well as just some random embellishments I have left over, whether, you know, if you're a sort of regular follower of mine, I have a blue little bucket that usually sits close to my desk here. Every time I rearrange or whatever, it always sits close by, and it's just got random embellishments I've either brought randomly online or something like that, or I've made, yeah, anything like that. So they sit in there, and I'm trying to use that when I don't really know what I want to use. I sort of reach for those, and as I said, my scrap drawer is getting full, so I've decided I want to try and use that as much as I can in creating a page. All right, so this Kaiser Craft stamp I actually brought for my daughter a few weeks back on the Boxing Day sales, because it has flamingos and things. She loves flamingos. So that's why I brought it. Anyway, I thought this would be perfect, and I actually did decide when making this, as I got further on to making this tag, that it would be with her in mind, with the flamingos and things like that on it. So I'm just using my Versamark ink, which is great for embossing. So I'm going to use that. As you can see in a minute, I'm going to use some bright pink embossing ink just to get that pink of the flamingo, powder. Cover it really well here. And now I'm just going to heat emboss it with my heat tool, which it didn't take too long to the powder to melt down and create that shape as it does. Can't really see it on here, it's changing. But basically the powder melts together to form that picture, to sort of a solid pattern. So that's how you call it.
Flamingo. Mama. I miss Daddy.
Okay, we'll be back shortly. Come and play. Now, I do make, I don't know if I actually keep this in. I might have edited it out, but what I actually did do was use my black ink, I think it's a VersaFine ink, to print, to stamp on this tag. It did not work at all. It sort of, it kind of melted into it. Not melted, smudged is the word I'm looking for. So I have cut that out because I'm actually going, you can see them there, you can see the black marks there. As you see, I tried to use like the leafy frond, whatever it is, pattern, and it just smudged. I think because of the gloss and the oxide ink, it was the wrong ink to use. Problem is I couldn't find where my stays on ink is. I have found it now. It was, I kind of forgot to unpack a whole huge pocket of my scrapbooking bag that I took when we went on holidays last week. So I finally found everything this morning that was missing, and yeah, all is well in the world. So instead, I decided I'm going to cover these up with some of this pattern paper, which was from a 6x6 paper pad of mine. It was sitting in my scrap drawer because I used a little bit for layering, I think, in my project previously. And I'm just going to use that to cover over my ink stamping mistakes. Oh, I've decided here too that it needed a bit more different sort of texture. Using the thread here, the pink thread, I was going to create like just a little background piece behind the flower, but instead I have decided to sort of use it like a thin rope kind of piece around the actual tag. So I'm just using my tiny attacher there just to staple it in, and then what I'll do is stick that flower over the top of the staple so you can't see it. So I made sure deliberately to staple it where the leaf pattern gone wrong is. Now, I did use my wet glue here to make sure it stuck down. I wasn't sure how tape would go on this background either, so I actually think I ended up using tape anyway, but on some of it, and it works fine. So I saved you the whole hassle of me fussy. I don't like fussy cutting, so it takes me a little bit to get it the way I want it. So I fussy cut out another flower off that piece of pattern paper, and I'm using that to pop that up in around this second black stamp piece. So I'm trying to go with a bit of a, like the flamingo, the floral, tropical kind of theme with my tag with this one. As I said, in mind was for my daughter that she will want it, and she has taken it already. I mean, this was only finished off being made earlier this morning, and it's sort of mid-afternoon, and she's already taken it. So she wants it for her stuff, so that's fine. So yeah, this is my blue bucket I was talking about. It has all my random bits of embellishments, little bits and pieces in it. So I just add another little random flower from my stash there, pop it up on a little bit of foam tape just to give a bit more dimension to that tag, just because it was all flat. Wanted to add, a bit of 3D to it, I guess. Trying to think what else it needs. Now, what do I add? Guess we'll have to wait. So I'm adding some of my enamel dots. For those in Australia, these were brought at the reject shop, and I did stock up this time simply because I hadn't seen them for ages and had run out. So when I did see them again a little while back, I decided to grab a few different coloured ones, and 2 of the ones that I do like. So I had plenty. All right, and just adding, again, it needed something else that was bothering me, this tag. So I have decided to draw a doodly border with my black marker and with my black pen. And I think, did I already write it? I write just chillin' up on the top corner there. And then in the end, once this is done, I am really happy with this tag. I haven't made tags like this as such before, so these are a bit new to me. So there's some of you out there that might be a bit more of a pro with making these sort of altered tags, but this is sort of really my first effort at it. I've tried doing DIY embellishments, I can't even talk, embellishments there, and use tags in those, and I didn't like how they turned out too well. So yeah, but being it's Arty Fun Friday, we need to get messy, we need to use some paint and I wanted to do something a bit different than an art journal page. So all right, now we're on to my, what's this? Is this the third tag I'm doing? Second. So I'm just adding this film strip piece that was sitting, again, I think in that blue bucket of randomness. And I decided that this would look perfect. Now, this one has, and you can't quite see it here, the white texture paste in the background. You'll see them in the close-ups. And I think for this tag, I've pretty much dug through that random box to get all my pieces for this. As I said, I did have a bit of goal in mind that I wanted to use bits and pieces out of this tub. So I don't want it to be chock-a-block full. You know, and some things have been, I've seen online, like in the, you know, the garage sale sites, scrappy garage sale sites on Facebook, and I've brought them obviously because I thought I'd use them, so why not use them? It's not like I'm hoarding them, it's just that they're little bits of pieces I forget to go to. They're also when I've got odds and ends of kits left over, like this bike was in a kit, I think, a Kitaholic kit a while ago, and there wasn't a lot of the kit left, so I've just chucked it in this box. If there's a fair few pieces left of a kit, I will leave it in its little ephemera pack it came in and just pop it in with the rest of my stash of ephemera that I've got in its packet still. All right, now this little piece, does it say dream or create? Where's my tags? Oh no, I think. Oh no, here they are. I think my daughter's taken all of them, but she hasn't. It says dream, and it's like a little banner. I am pretty happy with how these turned out. I hope you like them too. By all means, if you've got any tips and tricks with making some altered tags, please leave me a comment. Or if you've got some fellow YouTubers that might be really good at this sort of stuff, point me in the right direction. I'm always looking for new ideas for Arty Fun Fridays. If there's also something you want me to try out, always open to new suggestions, especially in this mixed media side. I'm always a little bit on the side of caution with mixed media, just because I guess I don't feel that I'm always real creative with paints and things like that. I'm not a drawer or anything like that. So this is why, again, I've said before, I have an art journal just to test out things. So yeah, if you've got some ideas, let me know. I'm just adding some bling. Now these blings have been in my stash for a million years, so I can't tell you where they're from. I really have absolutely no idea. I had these ones and a little bit of, and some flowers. I think this is the first ever lot of bling I ever actually had in my stash. I'm just adding a few more pieces to tie in some more of those colours, I think. Or do I only leave the two? Oh, I think I leave the two and then I get an enamel heart and go from there. Alright, that one's done, and now on to the third one, which I pulled these black and white vellum strips with writing on them, like little saying phrase pieces, out of that random bucket, but I don't think I ended up using them. I was going to, but I changed my mind. So I saved the hassle of me rummaging through a couple of different packs of ephemera and end up settling down with this one, which is, I think, a Simple Stories pack that is relatively new. We just got it in our January Kitaholic kit. Let me just tell you. I've got the packaging somewhere still. No, I don't think I do. If you would like to know, just duck over to the Kitaholic kit shop and have a look. But it is a Simple Stories range, I believe. So I was determined that this piece was going to have some kind of quote on it. In the end, it changes, as you will see. And I do fuss around a fair bit with this ephemera pieces. This video has been sped up a fair bit and edited a bit too, because it was quite a long video. And again, as I said, I saved you the hassle. You can see all the bits and pieces there and get the idea. There's lots of gold, black and white, pastel-y kind of colours. But I settled for this pale greeny coloured heart and this black and white flower piece. And I have popped the heart up on some foam tape just to give that tag some dimension. And in saying that, I think I remember having a thought when I made this just before that I have a feeling I've heard Inky Quill, I think when she was talking about her DIY embellishments, saying how there's like 3 parts to hers that she uses. And I think vaguely it was something like adding some dimension, and then something else and like a word or something. So I might have to go back and have a look what that was, but definitely check it out if you're not sure. In one of her DIY embellishment videos. I think it's on YouTube. Otherwise, I may have seen it because I am a subscriber on Patreon to her as well. Right, just adding a bit more. I needed to give this, I felt, an outline just to ground it a little bit into that bluey coloured background because I felt it was really pale. So it sort of just floated around with that darker background. So if that makes sense. Now I'm going to add my quotes here, and these are some of those Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk sticker pack. And I do pick 2 different colours. I pick a black and a white one just to contrast with each other. And again, I think I fuss around again. You'll see in a minute I tap my fingers because I know there's something missing from this tag. Now that phrase piece says, go where your heart takes you. So I was looking for something that says about, you know, heart and following your heart, which this one does. This black one says follow your heart. And I was thinking about adding another one to underneath the flower, but I just thought it would look a little bit too odd. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm going to fluff around for a bit here and try and find something that will sit in that spot. So I go round and round with a whole heap of different ephemera pieces. And as you can see, I'm going to settle for that heart, that rose. I think that comes from a crepe paper, Hello Love. Crepe paper? Hang on. It is too. Look at me go. Crepe paper, Hello Love piece. I'm going to add that. I do add some pink thread underneath. Again, just to give it a bit of texture. I'm so hopeless with this whole thread thing, and I've seen how other YouTubers like Missy Widden does it, and it's like, you know, wraps them up in their fingers and it seems to sit perfectly. I can't do that. Don't know why, but I just haven't nailed that trick yet. Okay, and my last tag. So here you can see I've got that texture paste. Again, I fluff around for ages with this Simple Stories ephemera pieces as to what was going to go on this tag. I do settle for this nice big quote that's framed by a pale pinky coloured border. And it just says, smile often, think positively, give thanks, laugh loudly, love others, dream big. Lots of positiveness I wanted on these. And again, adding some dimension with this. I've got some texture on there already with the texture paste, even though essentially it ends up getting most of it covered up, but that's cool. As I said, I didn't know what I was going to do when I started these. Pale pinky coloured heart here, just to tie in that pink border as well to this tag. My stapler seems to not want to work of late. Like I seem to staple once and then it doesn't work, and then I go again and it's okay. So I cover those staples up with an enamel, pinky coloured enamel dot. Now I do apologise because my camera cut off and I didn't realise. So I think all you miss me really doing is doing a thick black kind of doodly border around the edge. See there? So now here's some close-ups for you. I've got some still shots to come as well. I hope you've enjoyed this Arty Fun Friday video. I want to do something a bit different other than an art journal page, and I will try and keep that up, do some different, jazz it up a little bit. But thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you either tomorrow or Sunday with my Plan With Me video. So back on schedule now. I'm back from holidays. So I will see you shortly. Thanks for watching. Bye.